Now we approach the final session of the day, a real grand finale, because this is a fireside chat on the topic OTT in India, the biggest trends to watch out for. And we are in conversation with Pradyuman Maheshwari, founder MXM India. And joining him is the very dynamic Manish Kalra, Chief Business Officer, Z5 India. Over to you, Pradyuman sir.
Thanks a lot, everyone at IWMBuzz for this. It's a grand finale, as you say, and that has just put major expectations. Hi, Manish. We haven't really met, so this in many ways this is some kind of a blind date where we hopefully, as blind dates get, it grows into a great relationship. I have been covering. I've been covering reporting on Z from the time it's launched on that October 2nd of 1992. And wow. It's a great thing to see what Z5 and the various frontiers that Z has taken, as well as the frontiers that it is expected to take. But let's not get into the into the future very much. But let's look at the present and the topic of this discussion and the finale, as it is, since this is the last session of the India Web Fest, is looking at the trends of the OTT world and what you see what you see happening over here. In many ways, you are an outsider to the entertainment business, not to the digital business, but to the entertainment business, because you've been with areas which may have been entertaining to people, but not hardcore entertainment. So let me come to you. Let me ask you this as to how do you feel now that you've been here for nearly 2 years, a year and a half plus, in the big bad world of entertainment and specifically OTT? Is it over the top, or are we all grounded and we are doing things right?
No, thanks, Pradyuman. I think I've been an online online consumer expert. So wherever you are in the online world, whether you're buying travel or whether you're buying e-commerce, and now whether you're buying online entertainment, I've been around. So I would love to call myself as an online consumer expert and their understanding. And I believe every industry or every business can scale if they are customer first. So I think that's what I'm trying to build with Z5 as well. And this, like you said, this world of entertainment, it's really, really amazing. It's exciting. It's really not over the top. We are all grounded and we are all here to deliver and take care of our customers and ensure that we entertain you all in the best possible way. So yeah, that's where we are. And I think future is really bright, like you rightly said. Would love to answer specifics if you have in mind.
Yeah, of course, there are very specific things. But just for a bit, one more of flashback and your entry into the business. When you came in, when you took on the entire challenge at Z5,
right?
And before you came in, and you were with other digital platforms, and you've been there, done that in digital. What was your opinion of the OTT world, and what has it been post that in terms of the way the business is done? You have always worked with a scenario where you look at the consumer interest, you look at the consumer. Is this business all about understanding what consumers do, or is it a lot on gut feel and emotions, etc., that the entertainment world is working on?
I think fair input. So the way we see it, Pradyuman, is that in our world, the key service or the product that we provide to you is entertainment, which is content, and which is highly subjective and is a function of our understanding of the consumer. What are you looking for? What will connect with you? What will kind of break the barriers for you to take that next step to come online? So there is a lot of subjectivity, but we at Z5, what we are trying to do is use data to our advantage, because we are online. We do understand the consumer behavior, what persona or what profile consumes what kind of content, what kind of time you're spending, what is your engagement, what is your frequency. So I think basis the leveraging the online benefit of having your data as well as our own platform data, we've now kind of created hundreds of personas or taste clusters, as we call it. And basis that we define our both content strategy as well as marketing strategy. But to answer your question, yes, this world is very, very soft skill based, gut based in content side. However, on the platform, on the online side, on the online scale up side, data helps us a lot. So on the OTT front, we are kind of creating the best of both worlds, which leverages the understanding of the consumer with data as well as the content basis their consumption patterns, and trying to evolve as much as possible to ensure the success rate on the content we create is best in class. So yeah, it's a different world, to kind of agree with you.
Over we've seen in the last few months and years that ZEE5 has been doing a hell of a lot. For instance, my inboxes are never, it's never a day when there's nothing from ZEE5 in my inbox in terms of news and updates, etc., that are there. Have you mentioned about data driving content in many ways, or data driving decision making? Has there been since we are going to be looking at trends, has there been something that you may have done which has been driven by data? For instance, you've done the Leander Paes Mahesh Bhupati series. Now, is that what made you take the decision to even commission it? Is that has data helped you do that at all, or is it just a gut feel, or is it an opportunity that came in and you decided to pounce on it?
I think multiple ways, Pradyuman, to answer your question. Let's see what is the consumer looking for. So as an online entertainment portal, when we speak to our users, a very typical research-based example I got, in FGD, a customer says, I think of online entertainment as a buffet. And one day I would like to consume a thriller, and one day a romantic, and one day a family drama, and one day maybe a docu-series. So you have to give me choices. And there are various segments which are kind of adhering, and they have a preference for a certain kind of content. So yes, we do try to ensure that we cater to various customer segments with different types of content pieces and different genres. To specifically answer on that sports docu-series, I think we realize that there's a lot of merit in bringing some of these Indian real sports personalities in tennis, which is a niche sports in India, and bring their story out with some of the great filmmakers like Nitesh Tiwari and all of them together. So I think it was getting together of minds and bringing that to life and bringing it to a user, which is used to seeing many of these docu-series from international players, from international sports personalities, but not much in India. It was more of a learning experience and experiment for us, and we were happily surprised by the way it drove engagement on our platform and the consumption it drove. So yeah, I think all of us are learning and evolving. A lot of decisions are database, a lot of decisions are also gut-based and opportunity-based. This was more of an opportunity and gut-based one even after.
And obviously, an organization like yours, while you are you are looking at gut and you're looking at opportunity, etc., but you also have shareholders and you have people to satisfy. How much of that that people realize? Because at the end of the day, you are looking at pleasing consumers, and pleasing consumers is perhaps the toughest thing. It may be slightly easier in e-commerce, etc., but in entertainment, it's a very weird thing where you could be doing things right in some way, but suddenly something new comes up by another platform, and all the attention goes there. So how does it work in terms of actually planning the content and what would perhaps be a great big next idea?
I think, again, while it is subjective and what we do is use data. So let's say what we're realizing is real, relevant, and more relatable stories are working well for the consumers. Movies help us drive a lot of traffic and acquisition. A lot of the unique niche shows are helping us, ensuring there's a frequency of data as well as the frequency of launches, which keeps coming our way. Every weekend, the consumer is looking for something. So you might have seen, let's say we have done some big, bold experiments. In May this year, we went ahead with the first digital release of Radhe, which is as big as it gets in Indian film industry in Bollywood. And the intent there was to obviously take care of the customer needs. It was pandemic at its peak and theaters could not open, and whichever could open, there were very limited screens. So we took that bet. We kind of brought that movie to Indian customers. Then that we realized that, hey, the appetite for entertainment is very high. So not only on subscription model, we saw almost 20% of the movie consumers watching it on pay-per-view model, which was the first in India. Even we have not seen many successful international players succeeding with pay-per-view. So TVOD helped, overall subscription model helped. Then we kind of brought in a very different content piece, Friends reunion, which was very highly anticipated for Indians because many of us have grown watching Friends. So that kind of brought a different kind of audience. So how do you decide your bouquets? Looking at what are the core audience segments or customer clusters? What are they looking for? Do you have a lineup of content which you can create in a consistent manner for, let's say, next 6 months, next 12 months, so that you can sustain them, engage them, as well as acquire more and more of those users? The first part of your question was, how do you please the shareholders? I think we all have a business plan to cater to, and some of these, all the activities we do, whether it's from producing a certain content or acquiring certain movie or investing in some kind of marketing, has a highly measurable ROI-based mechanism attached to it, which helps us drive results and scale the businesses. But yeah, so far so good. With everyone's grace, we are doing all right.
Yeah, I guess it also helps in the fact that anybody who is involved in entertainment does have a fairly good risk-taking appetite, because there is a fair amount of risk, and innovation does lead to risks. So something would work and something would not. Tell me, in terms of what is the future going to be? It's at one level, for instance, I think I read about your inking an arrangement with somebody like an Applause. So you have players like these who are established and who have done some great work in the past. At the same time, the next big idea could be coming from somewhere, someone absolutely new and raw. So how do you ensure, and since this is being viewed by people who may well want to come and pitch an idea to you, how do you ensure that you harvest fresh, innovative ideas?
I think a good content is all about a good story and ability to tell a good story. So if we come across ideas which are real, relatable, and relevant to the current scenarios, we obviously look at them. We look at success rates of the creators and producers in the past. So just a quick example, let's say someone yesterday was pitching a story which actually is real but not very known and has a lot of layers attached to it, which we believe in the current consumer scenario will connect with the audience. So we've asked him to kind of explore more and thrash it out and make it more granular. So I think it's all about customers, all about understanding what they are seeking, how you can bring stories across genres to life for them, which will be interesting, exciting, and innovative enough for them. The customers are actually spoiled for choice and just kind of taking a leap into how the industry has evolved. There are almost 40 OTT players in the country right now. And there's a lot of both Indian and international content which is coming. And that has also led to evolution of customer tastes very, very rapidly over the last 2 years. So yes, they are expecting higher values of production. Yes, they are expecting much higher complicated layered stories which will evolve, which will keep their interest alive over next 10 episodes. Yes, they want some high points in every episode after every 10 minutes. So it's becoming a science which we are all learning in the process. But to answer your question, I think as long as the stories are real, relevant, and relatable, and we have good kind of minds behind them who can do, who understand the art of storytelling for an OTT, and I'm putting that angle very, very specifically here, because telling a story on OTT versus a regular TV channel versus a movie is a different art, we are realizing, and the customer expectations are different. So, but yeah, I think we're all in it to grow the ecosystem and help young creators come and tell good stories. So we're all open. Applause, and you mentioned applause deal. I think that's more because you want to ensure there are some consistent big bets that you take, and you are leaning in with some successful background. I think all of us look at consistency. So that's where we have in some of those deals. But yes, younger and new creators are always welcome.
Great. Now, if I'm going to place a crystal ball in front of you and look at highlighting a few trends that people can look for, and perhaps we can perhaps see as a discussion in the next edition of India Web Fest. What do you think happening over the next? You mentioned about the fact that there are 40 odd players who are there, and there may well be some more entities who may come in. There may well be some consolidation, etc., etc. But in terms of what do you see is the future going to be like?
I think again, I'll take a customer backward stance here. So customers are evolving, and just to give you some input on how the overall entertainment industry has evolved. With the advent of OTT, we did a pretty detailed study recently, which came out like 2 weeks back for us. The TV consumption has not gone down, which is very healthy and very positive trend for us, because we come from a media house which is sustained by TV. Now, what we are also realizing is that OTT is enhancing your overall entertainment time. It might be taking away from some of the free entertainment that you were doing, but it is enhancing the overall entertainment time. It is giving you more and more choices to make across genres, across types of content. So the consumer is going to spend more time getting entertained. Yes, number one. Number two, all entertainment mediums will grow, whether it's TV or cinema or OTT. We saw recently that a lot of movies went directly to OTTs, which was required at that time in pandemic. But now with cinemas opening, we are seeing success with movies which have gone to cinema and then are coming to OTT. So there is an audience which definitely wants to have the full experience of entertainment in cinema. And there's an audience which is consuming it on OTT. On OTTs, what we are realizing, to kind of give you number 3 as a trend, a huge consumption going on connected TVs. So people are building more and more home theater experiences, bigger screens. Also, advent of cheaper broadband and fibers going into most of the cities is helping us drive that. And also the connected TVs or smart TVs coming at very affordable prices are driving that consumption. So people do want to have the full experience of entertainment with the right kind of sound and bigger screens available to them. So almost 70% of our subscribers are watching their content on bigger screens at home with family. So that's a big change that we're evolving into. I think what we will also see is, like you said, consolidation is going to happen, but more and more regionalization, specifically for us, because we want to build our strength in regional languages. We realize that India is not only Hindi, India is not only English. The real India consumes content in their own language, and we're seeing good success and initial trends. And again, consumers asking for that. So more and more content creation and investment is going to go in regional languages in India. So with that, I think we're also learning that on an average worldwide in a world market, let's like the US, individual has almost 3 subscriptions per head. So let's say if you are subscribing to X, you will also have Y and Z, because each of them is catering to different needs and types of content. So same is evolving for India. So we are seeing that people who are in the metros, who are already evolved, they are having more than one subscriptions. People in tier 2, 3 cities are kind of coming online with OTTs much faster. So definitely the advent is going to go more aggressively into regional markets, into tier 2, 3 markets, into connected TVs, and into multiple forms of entertainment, if I were to summarize.
And thanks for the trend spotting, so to if I would call it. But you've always looked at business with and P&Ls with definite monies coming in, etc. Now, do you think the business models that we have in this field are really grounded? Because, or is it all about valuation and expectations of what could perhaps work, etc.? Because clearly, there is the AWOD and the SWOD businesses which are there, but in the AWOD space, there is a fair amount of clutter. In SWOD, again, there is subscription, and there are various schemes and deals that are there with bundled with various telcos, etc. So, is there money at the end of the day? Is there money that you see which people will be making?
Yes, I think fair question. So it's like any new industry or any new service that you create involves changing customer behavior, right? So, and for doing that, you need to make investments. Now, again, I've been in various industries. So let's say if I go back 5-6 years back, e-commerce, when they launched in India, it was all about discounts. It was all about kind of having a very, very high decibel marketing and ensuring that consumers are transitioning. And there was a huge investment made. So OTT is at a very, very early stage of its growth cycle. It's an investment phase for all of us. It is a phase wherein people are creating library of content and catering to the consumers. Cost of acquisition is high, but do we see a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, we do. I think, like I said, we're investing in changing consumer behavior right now by providing them great content at very affordable prices. As more and more consumers come up, as a critical mass of the overall consumption moves to OTT, which we expect. So just to give you some numbers, there are multiple forecasts that within the next 3 years, it will be a $5 billion industry. People will be more willing to pay for the subscriptions, and obviously good quality content and great consumer experience will come into play. The second part of your question on AWOD and SWOD, I think AWOD, like you said, there are multiple players, and so are in SWOD. However, we do see both forms of content growing in parallel. What we see is AWOD is helping people come to sample OTT as a free or ad-based platform. And then when they see the other content on the same platform, they transition into it. And some of our algorithms, our data-based tools will help us drive that. But yes, I think over the next 3 to 4 years, we will see a lot of investment going in, but there is, all of us have business models which are breaking even, and kind of projections are aligned to what we have seen in other industries, in other countries, and the kind of investments we are making. So definitely it's a business worthwhile, but someone with patience and investment appetite needs to kind of grow and scale here.
It's perhaps not the right question to ask, a digital animal such as yourself, and perhaps like me, that but the way technology is driving our business, right? Which you're talking about the way it started when Z was launched some 30 years back to where it is now, and increasingly there are new forms of content platforms that are coming in. For instance, there's stuff like Clubhouse, and there's audio, audio rooms, etc., that are there. Where
Right.
you see how much does it really impact a player like yourself and a professional like yourself, because the only constant is change in our business, right? And especially in your business.
I think it's very relevant to the times we are in, Pradyuman. All the way the change is coming in the digital businesses and the digital consumers, it's very fast. All of us are evolving by the minute, by the hour, and kind of ensuring we are keeping up with the trends. So, to answer your question in a very simplistic way, uh, people are spending more time online, which is a good thing. Now they're picking their formats. They are either going to a short form video format, or they're going to a clubhouse or a podcast. They want to be entertained. I think the basic need all of these services are taking care of is giving you good entertainment in a format that you like, in a leisure time that you have at your hand, with good quality internet which is being provided to you. Now, how do you get that space of mind? Is basis what kind of entertainment or content you're able to create and attract this user to your platform. Now, would we get into some of those newer platforms? We are experimenting with a short form video platform called Happy. But I think all of these platforms and content consumption pieces will stay put. There is a relevant need, and they're taking care of different needs of different individuals at various points in time. So I think to answer your question, we are all learning, evolving. We are going with the flow. The consumer is moving fast, and so is technology. And we'll all stay relevant as long as we move with the consumers.
I was just, as I was speaking with you and you were saying, I was just looking at my screen time on my phone, and I just saw that the daily average is 6 hours, 39 minutes. And this is when I don't use WhatsApp on my phone. It's from my laptop. And I spend, a good amount of time on the laptop. Now, is this good news for you? The fact that, you have people like myself who are spending most of our time in life, maybe messing up our eyes, but it is.
No, I think it's like it's overall consumers evolving, right? Digital penetration, internet penetration, content penetration, all of that is helping all us to kind of grow and scale. Obviously, the more you are online, more we have a chance of getting discovered, whether it is through a word of mouth, or whether it's through social media, or whether it's through an online ad that we're running targeting people like yourself. So that's it's a good news for all of us, and we are all excited that Indian consumers are spending more and more time getting entertained online, as well as kind of consuming various forms and formats of content. And there is a high willingness to pay for the right content, which is another positive news that we are seeing. So I think with all of this combined together and consumer evolution, fingers crossed, future is looking good.
Absolutely. If I'm doing an interview with anyone, I couldn't not ask a slightly uncomfortable question. So I'm going to ask you that. What is it that keeps Manish Kalra awake in the night? What is it that is perhaps causing you some sleepless nights, giving you the heebie-jeebies, or whatever you may call it?
Yeah, two, three things. One, you started by saying we are in a business which is content, and not knowing whether the content will cut ice with the consumers tomorrow. So there's a huge investment which goes in making every piece of content. So let's say tomorrow we have a release. Now that needs to do well and ensure that consumers like it, and we get new subscriber bases. That obviously keeps us on our toes and ensures that we are having sleepless nights. But I think that's important. We're trying to build some frameworks around it. Second thing, which not only for us, I think, which is relevant to the entire industry and everyone in this ecosystem, is piracy. It's just too prevalent. I think while we try and build security and we try and build as much as safety nets around our content, which is again a multi-million-dollar content that we create, we realize that there are obviously a lot of people who pull it off, and then B, there are a lot of people who consume. I think that's something which, as industry, as an ecosystem, as viewers and customers, I think it's all about ethics. So that's something we all should see how we can cut down and negate, because there are livelihoods, there are investments which are going into entertaining all of us together. And it is something which is like piracy is equal to kind of robbing a bank, and something that should be avoided and punished. But yeah, that's the second thing which keeps me awake all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I must say my two bit on about piracy. It is finally intellectual theft, and I think all of us must, ensure. And even though I'm sure some of the people who are watching this over here will say, "What the hell?" But whether it comes to reading a book, on a pirated PDF, or buying a newspaper from the various, or not buying a newspaper and reading it from the various WhatsApp groups that are there, I think it's critical that we respect original content and content creators and people like yourself who are investing top dollars on content. On that note, it was a great conversation that we've had, and thanks for, in this short period, identifying the trend spots that are there, and identifying the possible pitfalls, and identifying what perhaps is causing the entire industry some nervous moments. Thank you very much, Manish, and thank you everyone at India Web Fest and IWMBuzz for facilitating this.
Thanks, Pradyuman. Thanks, IWM team and the viewers. All the best to all of us.
Thank you very much, Pradyuman sir, and thank you very much, Manish sir.